I still remember the moment it all started, the moment my life flipped upside down. I was standing in front of the bathroom mirror at home, staring at my reflection, when I realized something was off. My face looked softer, my jawline less sharp, my skin smoother. My chest felt heavier, more pronounced. I pressed my hands against my body, panic rising in my throat. No, this can't be happening, I whispered to my reflection. But the eyes staring back at me were wide and unfamiliar, and a small, incredulous laugh escaped my lips, high-pitched and distinctly feminine. And then my phone buzzed with a text from my so-called best friend, Taylor. See you tomorrow at school. Don't forget, your new look. You promised. I dropped the phone, my stomach twisting. I had promised. I didn't remember promising anything. My heart thudded as I realized the truth. Taylor had tricked me into taking something, hormones, pills, or some kind of transformation serum, and now my body was changing. Irrevocably. And tomorrow, school would see me, like this. The next morning, I tried to hide it, stuffing my chest with a tight t-shirt, wearing baggy jeans, and avoiding mirrors. But walking into school felt like stepping onto a stage in a costume I hadn't rehearsed for. Every eye seemed to latch onto me, and every whisper felt like it was about me. Wow, you look different, someone muttered as I passed. I wanted to vanish. My hands shook as I gripped my backpack straps. Hallways felt narrower, and the lockers felt like barriers I couldn't navigate without attention. I overheard Taylor giggling in the distance. She's getting the hang of it. I wanted to scream. Instead, I forced a smile, a tremulous thing that barely hid the fear curling in my chest. Every step, every glance from classmates, reminded me that there was no escaping. By lunch, I was a mess of nerves and confusion. I ducked into the bathroom and stared at my reflection. My hair, which had grown impossibly fast, fell past my shoulders. My face was softer, almost delicate. My chest, there it was, undeniable now, straining slightly against my t-shirt. I took a shaky breath. Okay, you can do this, I whispered. But the voice that came out was light, melodic, and foreign. I tried to speak again, lower this time, but my body refused. Even in the privacy of the bathroom, I was forced to confront the reality. I was changing, and there was no going back. Over the next few days, life became a constant balancing act. I had to navigate the school corridors, dodge whispers, and answer questions I wasn't prepared for. Teachers asked if I was okay. Friends gave awkward, uncertain smiles. And Taylor seemed to revel in every moment of my discomfort. One afternoon, in the cafeteria, a group of students stared as I walked by. I could feel their eyes tracing the curve of my hips, the sway of my shoulders, the subtle tremor in my hands. Nice dress, someone said, and I froze mid-step, heat flooding my face. I wanted to shout that this wasn't me, that I didn't choose this, but the words wouldn't come. I was trapped in this body, this persona, forced to play the role of someone I didn't know, and yet, I couldn't ignore the strange thrill running through me as I heard the compliment. That night, I locked myself in my room and began experimenting. Dresses, skirts, blouses, I tried them all. Soft fabrics brushed against my skin, delicate textures that felt foreign yet strangely comforting. I practiced walking, adjusting the sway of my hips, tilting my head, softening my voice. I spent hours in front of the mirror, experimenting with makeup. Lipstick, eyeliner, blush, tiny touches that transformed me, giving me control over a body that had suddenly become alien. I whispered to myself, this is temporary. I'll get through it. But even as I said it, a part of me was curious, excited even, at how powerful it felt to inhabit this new form. Chloe, my roommate and the only one who knew my secret fully, peeked in. You're amazing, she said. Not like a costume. It suits you. I laughed, nervously, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. It doesn't feel like me, I admitted. It feels wrong. Or maybe it's something new, Chloe said, smiling. Something you didn't know you could be. School life became a series of small, nerve-wracking experiments. I would adjust the tilt of my head, let my voice carry a little higher, practice delicate gestures with my hands. At first, every step drew stares, whispers, and awkward laughter. But gradually, I began to notice something. People responded differently. They listened more, smiled more, engaged more. It was terrifying and intoxicating all at once. I was forced to adapt, forced to embody Lila, the name Taylor insisted I use. And somewhere in the process, I realized that I was learning to inhabit her fully. The real turning point came during gym class. I had dreaded this moment for days, knowing that changing rooms and physical activity would expose every curve, every change my body had undergone. My face burned as I stepped into the locker room, the echoes of whispers ricocheting off the walls. But then, something shifted. I found a quiet corner, adjusted my uniform, and took a deep breath. I moved with as much confidence as I could muster, letting the rhythm of my steps guide me. And in that moment, I felt a strange surge of empowerment. The body I had feared had become a tool, a canvas, a vessel for something I hadn't expected, self-expression. By the end of the week, I was navigating hallways, classrooms, and cafeterias with increasing confidence. Compliments, smiles, and curious glances replaced the fear that had gripped me initially. I learned to laugh with classmates, respond with charm, and carry myself with an elegance I never knew I possessed. Taylor, initially smug, now looked at me with surprise. You've adapted faster than I expected, she admitted. I had no choice, I said, smiling. And I guess I'm okay with it. The months that followed were a mixture of fear, embarrassment, and exhilarating discovery. I learned how to dress for every occasion, how to speak softly but assertively, how to navigate social dynamics with grace. Every interaction, whether a casual conversation, a compliment in the hallway, or a whisper from a friend, taught me more about Lila and, unexpectedly, about myself. I discovered strength in vulnerability. I discovered confidence in new forms. I discovered joy in exploration. And I realized, slowly, that I was no longer forced. I was choosing, embracing, and even enjoying this life. The ultimate test came during the school talent show. I had planned a performance, singing, dressed in a flowing gown, fully embodying Lila. The auditorium buzzed with anticipation, and I felt my pulse race. Could I do this? Could I face the crowd as someone I had been forced to become? I stepped onto the stage, lights blinding, audience watching. I opened my mouth to sing, voice trembling at first. But then I remembered every lesson, every experiment, every mirror practice. My voice strengthened, flowing effortlessly, melodic and sure. My movements were elegant, confident, commanding attention. By the end of the performance, the crowd erupted in applause. I felt tears prick my eyes, not from fear, but from triumph. I had faced the world, embraced this body, and discovered a part of myself I never knew existed. Returning home that night, I stared in the mirror. Lila's reflection looked back, radiant and confident. I whispered softly, I'm still me, but I'm also her. And I can be proud of that. Chloe appeared behind me, smiling. You did it. You're amazing. I nodded, feeling a warmth in my chest. The journey had been terrifying, confusing, and embarrassing, but it had also been transformative. I had learned courage, self-acceptance, and the power of embracing who you are, no matter how unexpected or challenging it might be. And for the first time in months, I felt truly free. The next morning, stepping into the school hallway felt like walking onto a stage I hadn't auditioned for. Every eye seemed to catch me mid-step, and every whisper felt like it was amplified just for me. I tried to shrink into my oversized hoodie and baggy jeans, but my chest, soft and undeniable now, refused to be hidden. Whoa, is that? A voice trailed off as I passed, and I felt my face flush crimson. I didn't look up, I just kept walking, heart hammering in my chest. My backpack straps dug into my shoulders as if they were chains, and every movement reminded me that I was exposed. Taylor was waiting by my locker, smirking. You're getting used to it, right? She said, voice teasing. You're walking a little straighter. I wanted to say I wasn't used to it, that I was terrified, but all that came out was a squeaky, high-pitched murmur. I'm fine. Her laugh was soft but victorious. Good. You better be. Everyone's noticing. I swallowed hard, glancing around. Whispers followed me from the hallway to my classroom. Friends I'd known for years stared, uncertain, some with curiosity, some with amusement. I could see the subtle shifting of eyes, the nervous glances, the muffled giggles. It was humiliating. In class, sitting at my desk felt impossible. My body had changed, and the way the chair pressed against my curves reminded me constantly that this wasn't temporary. The pencil in my hand felt awkward. My voice when I raised it to answer a question sounded alien, soft, and feminine. Are you okay? the teacher asked, eyebrows raised. I forced a nod, though my stomach twisted with embarrassment. Yes. I'm fine, I murmured, voice barely audible. But I wasn't fine. Not at all. I wanted to scream, to tell the world that this wasn't me, that this body, this voice, this presence was borrowed, forced upon me. But I couldn't. I was trapped, and everyone could see it. Lunchtime was even worse. The cafeteria, a sea of tables and students, felt like a battlefield. Every step I took drew attention. Someone nudged a friend and whispered. A group across the room snickered. I felt heat rising, my cheeks burning. Nice skirt, someone said from behind, and I nearly dropped my tray. I spun, forcing a smile I didn't feel. Thanks, I muttered, voice trembling. The compliment should have felt nice, maybe even empowering, but instead it reminded me that I was the center of unwanted attention. Taylor slid into the seat across from me, grinning. See? They're noticing you. You're stunning. I groaned internally. Stunning? No. Exposed, humiliated, trapped, that's what I felt. And yet, a strange flicker of something unfamiliar stirred inside me. A mix of curiosity, thrill, and panic. I couldn't understand it, but it was there, tugging at me. After school, I ducked into the bathroom, staring at my reflection for what felt like hours. My hair had grown past my shoulders, silky and strange. My face was softer, the curves of my cheeks unfamiliar. My chest, undeniable and present, made me take a step back. I can't do this, I whispered. I can't be her. But as I looked closer, I noticed something subtle. My eyes, though wide with fear, also reflected a strange fascination. The lips I had always ignored now seemed delicate, inviting, capable of expressing something I had never allowed myself to feel. My hands, smaller and softer, seemed elegant, even graceful. I touched my cheek, my hair, the curve of my chest, and a shiver ran through me, not of fear, but of awareness. This body, though forced upon me, had potential. It had power. It was alien, yes, but also alive. That night, alone in my room, I began to experiment. Dresses, skirts, blouses, soft fabrics brushing against my skin, delicate textures that felt foreign but comforting. Makeup, tiny touches that transformed me, gave me control, allowed me to explore an identity I had never imagined. I whispered to myself, this isn't me. It's not real, but maybe it can be. And in that quiet, hidden space, I realized something profound. For the first time, I had a choice. How I used this body, how I explored this identity, would shape me, whether I liked it or not. Chloe, who had become my confidant and guide, peeked in. You're beautiful, she said softly. Not just the look, you. There's something real here. I shook my head, half laughing, half tearing up. It doesn't feel real. It feels like a trap. She smiled gently. Maybe. Or maybe it's a door. A door you didn't know existed. And maybe, just maybe, you'll like what's on the other side. The weekend gave me some much-needed privacy. My parents were out of town, and Chloe had promised to help me experiment safely. I felt a strange mix of excitement and anxiety as I opened my closet, staring at rows of skirts, dresses, and blouses I had never dared touch before. I picked up a soft, flowy dress, feeling the fabric between my fingers. It was silky, cool, and gentle against my skin. The thought that I would actually wear it in public sent a thrill through me, though fear twisted in my stomach. I wasn't just playing dress-up, this was my reality now. Chloe entered quietly, holding a small makeup kit. Let's start with the basics, she said, her voice calm and reassuring. Nothing heavy. Just enough to see how you feel. I nodded, my hands trembling slightly as I applied a light foundation, carefully smoothed eyeliner, and dabbed a soft pink on my lips. Each movement felt foreign yet oddly satisfying. I caught my reflection in the mirror, blinking at the soft, feminine version of me staring back. You look incredible, Chloe whispered. Not just like a girl, like you, but stronger, bolder. I laughed nervously, touching my cheeks. It doesn't feel like me. It feels like someone else. Maybe it's the person you've been hiding inside, Chloe suggested. Or maybe it's just the start of discovering a side of yourself you didn't know existed. Over the next few hours, I practiced movements, gestures, even my voice. Chloe coached me gently. The tilt of my head, the sway of my hips, the subtle bend of my wrists. Every time I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, a mixture of embarrassment and fascination flared inside me. I tried walking across the room in heels for the first time. My knees wobbled, my balance faltered, and I stumbled once, but Chloe clapped. "Perfect. You're getting it already." For the first time, I allowed myself a small smile. The body I had feared, that had humiliated me at school, was becoming something I could control, something I could express. I wasn't just forced into being Lila anymore. I was beginning to explore what it meant to be her, even if only privately. Chloe suggested a small outing to test my comfort. We went to a local cafe, my dress flowing softly around my legs, heels clicking lightly on the pavement. My heart raced with every step, and I could feel the heat in my cheeks as strangers glanced my way. "Remember, you're Lila," Chloe reminded me. "Own it. You deserve to be here, just as much as anyone else." I took a deep breath, adjusted my posture, and entered the cafe. The barista smiled warmly. "Hi there. Table for one." Yes, please," I said, my voice trembling initially, then finding strength. People stared, some curious, some indifferent. But I noticed something. I wasn't invisible anymore. My presence was acknowledged, my identity accepted, even if only silently. The realization sparked a rush of empowerment I hadn't expected. Back home, we analyzed the outing. "You were amazing," Chloe said. "See? You can navigate the world as her. And it feels good, doesn't it?" I bit my lip, thinking. It's scary, and exciting, and confusing. But yes, it does feel good. I realized I was learning to embrace contradictions, fear and thrill, embarrassment and empowerment, loss and discovery. Lila wasn't just a mask I wore. She was a part of me I had never explored. And the more I experimented, the more I understood the subtle nuances of my new identity. Over the following weeks, I continued private experiments. I styled my hair in different ways, tried bolder makeup looks, and practiced subtle social cues, soft laughs, delicate hand gestures, the tilt of my head when speaking. Each day, I became more comfortable with Lila. I even started journaling as her, writing down thoughts and feelings I hadn't shared before. There was an honesty in those pages that surprised me. Confessions about insecurities, curiosities, and desires I had never admitted, even to myself. One evening, Chloe smiled at me as I closed my journal. "You're blossoming," she said. "Not just in appearance, in confidence. You're discovering power in your vulnerability." I nodded, feeling a warmth in my chest. I never imagined I could feel like this. But I'm learning. Slowly, but learning. The real turning point came when I decided to try public socialization fully. A small gathering of Chloe's friends invited me to a casual get-together. My stomach churned with anxiety, but I dressed carefully. A modest dress, soft curls in my hair, subtle makeup. Every detail mattered. As we arrived, I felt the familiar rush of attention. Some whispers, some glances, but for the first time, I didn't shrink. I held my head high, smiled gently, and let conversations flow. People responded to me naturally, engaging warmly, complimenting subtly. "Lila, you look amazing," one of Chloe's friends said. "Thank you," I replied, voice steady. And for the first time, it felt sincere, not forced, not a performance. By the end of the evening, I realized I wasn't pretending anymore. I was inhabiting this identity fully, blending curiosity, confidence, and self-discovery. Lila had become a living part of me, and in embracing her, I found strength I didn't know I had.